What's poppin', my J dolls? And I'm back with another video. Before we get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell. Y'all, we're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so don't play with us because we ain't never been one of them. And if you ain't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It is free $99. And if you still don't subscribe, you a hater. Take it with your mama, because why she raised you like that? I'm just kidding. So y'all, today I figure like, should I have my glasses or no glasses? I think no glasses kind of eats. Anyway, y'all, I'm in the car. It's something about the car y'all like, so we gonna be in the car. This car costs me a lot of money, so why won't we utilize it? Okay, period. So boom. Today, y'all, if you have read the title, I'm gonna pretty much probably put in the title, this is my last year being financially irresponsible, and how I had to file for bankruptcy at the age of 25. I think 26 or 25. So y'all, this is me being raw and uncut, because this is something I would probably had never put on the internet. But I'm really at the point in my life where it's like, I don't want no more skeletons in my closet. Like, I don't want no more skeletons in my closet. I don't want to be perfect. I don't really care what nobody thinks. I have accepted everything that I put on the internet. I accepted it, and it's life, and life goes on. And until you can be an authentic person and your authentic self, you can never, to me personally, you can never succeed if you always are hiding things, because it will come out. What's done in the dark will come to the light. So anyways, y'all, so I want to talk about me being financially irresponsible and how that ended up forcing me to file for bankruptcy and all that stuff. So mind you guys, I grew up, the way that I grew up is, I think everything stems from childhood. And I'm sorry if I keep doing something with my mouth. I just ate some kettle chips, so that's why. Anyways, y'all, I think everything stems from childhood trauma. I grew up poor. Like, I wouldn't say dirt poor, but I've had struggles. I see my mom struggle. I see my mom work multiple jobs. I see my mom, like, get into debt. I see my mom, we had to stay in homeless shelter before, like, so I've seen the struggle. But through the struggle, this is what kind of manifested me into like a materialistic person. Was through the struggle, my mom would still buy me whatever I wanted. I was very spoiled as a kid. If I wanted something, I would just cry my eyes out about it, and I would get it. My mom would always say yes. My mom was not the parent to say no. My mom was a pushover. So I knew that if I wanted something, I would get it. Even if it cost like $300, $400. Like, I was getting, like, y'all, when I turned like 17, 18, I was getting like $1,000 from my mama. When she would file her taxes, I would get $1,000 in my hand. Like, I was getting her to do stuff that I shouldn't be able to make her do, right? Also, on top of that, she would use a lot of credit cards. So if it's Christmas, she would literally get credit cards or put stuff on layaway. Even if she didn't have the money, she would find ways to get us all the gifts we want, and get us, like, we were like over consuming a lot. Let's be honest. We had a lot of things that my mom could not afford, and that instilled in me that I wanted to get whatever I wanted, no matter what the outcome might be. If I want it, I got it, type of thing. So that instilled in my personality to have no discipline. And that bleeded in a lot of places in my life, but it bleeded in my financial life. You have to understand, if you lack discipline, you lack it in several spaces in your life. So back then, I lacked discipline with food, so that's how I became morbidly obese. And then I also lacked discipline in my spending. That's how I got into bad debt, and that's how I had to file for bankruptcy. And I lacked discipline with just telling myself no. So, and I know a lot of people watch my channels for weight loss too, so they might be trickling to this video. But if you see yourself, you cannot say no to food, you can't say no to going out to eat, you can't say no to that. Like, those things trickle into your life of not being able to say no in general. Like, and that also could, now that I'm thinking deeper too, that also can stimulate in your life, like, being a people pleaser too, like not being able to say no to people. You just don't have any discipline. I'm sorry, people that lack discipline in multiple areas of their life. So for me, I lack discipline in all areas of my life, and financially, it started getting to a point where I did go to college, y'all. So I've been working since I was 16, 17 years old, and I would work for my money. When I was in my teenage years, I really never got into situations where I was just like blowing my money, because I had to pay my car note and I had to pay like my insurance, so it wasn't like I had a lot of money left over, and if I wanted something, my mom would technically always get it for me. So it only became a problem when I went to college. So y'all, when I went to college, I was 18, straight out of high school. I went to college, and you know, in college you start getting credit cards. First of all, y'all, when I was younger, and this is my karmatic energy, because I was, when I tell you I was sassy, I was sassy. One time I remember my mama, that's why I think this is karmatic energy, and I needed this to be able to understand. But when I was younger, my mom, I really wanted something so bad. I wanted it something so bad, and my mom's like, oh, I can't do it because my credit's not good. I have bad credit. And I'm like, I wish you had good credit. Like, when I get older, I'm not gonna have bad credit. Like, this is ridiculous. Like y'all, I was one of them kids. Like, think anything I want, I got it. So my mom did get pissed off at me, but like, my mom, when she got pissed off, she was just stonewall me. Like, she just won't say nothing, because my mom is just like, she either cuss you out if she really had it, but she's not one of them people. Like, she would just be quiet and ignore you. So anyhow, so boom. So when I got to college, I didn't start getting credit cards, y'all, until probably around the age of maybe 19, 20, because I was scared of credit cards. And then when I first got credit cards, every time I would use it, I would end up paying it off. I was really on top of my credit for a good minute, until I couldn't be no more. So in the beginning, I only had a couple cards, so I would use them and I pay it off right away. And then I went to college, and during college, I got student loans. But when I got student loans, I would always get more money than what is my whole tuition is. So I always had a couple thousands extra on top of my student loans. So what I would do is, I was in and out of state all the time, y'all. I traveled a lot in college. Y'all probably can see that. I don't know, on my YouTube. I didn't vlog that much back then for travel. And I archived a lot of my pictures, because a lot of my pictures are old and from when I'm plus size. And it's not that I'm hiding it. I'm just reinventing my Instagram. So y'all can see my reels, and my reels show my transformation and stuff. But I just wanted my whole Instagram grid to look cohesive and be the new me. But anyways, so boom. I was going on trips, y'all. And as I was doing this, I started getting more and more credit cards, because, you know, first of all, they kept hiring my credit card limits. So it'd be times like, okay, I only had $1,000 credit limit, and that $1,000 credit limit now has went up to $5,000 credit limit. Okay, now I start working retail stores. When you start working retail stores, they're like, oh, you can get a credit card. You work here, just get a credit card. I had a Nordstrom card. Okay, the Nordstrom card came from $1,000 to $3,000. Like, that's kind of where it went. It started from like, all right, I don't have credit, so I got $500, $1,000 limit. I can handle this. I can pay it all the way off, you know? And, sorry, y'all. It only started to get out of control once my limits start to get higher and higher and higher, which is that's the whole purpose of the system. So it got to the point where it's like, okay, I got it. Let me go buy, y'all, I used to buy extreme things. Like, obviously, social media plays a part in it, but how I grew up of over consuming, having materialistic things, I always had to look good. And now now I know where it stems from, because I feel like as a bigger girl, like, you had to always be put together. Like, I could come out and look like this and I'm cool. You know, I don't have no makeup. I don't have no weave. My hair is not even fully done. Even though it's cut, it's like, haven't had a perm in months, whatever. I can come out and just look like this and I feel fine. I don't know why. But back then, like, I would have to have my nails done. I would have to have, and I still do this from time to time, but I mean, I never did not have my nails done. I never did not have my hair done. I never did not. If I was going somewhere, I'm doing my makeup, my hair, my nail, like, I'm getting dressed. My outfits got to be put together, and my outfits have to eat. And my outfits would have to be like designer stuff. Like, I would have to have Balenciaga sneakers, and I would have to have Gucci bags. Like, no. In college, y'all, I was buying Balenciaga sneakers. Mind you, when I got my Balenciaga sneakers, I had got a tax refund, so I would use my tax refund, go buy whatever I wanted. So I bought Balenciaga sneakers. I remember one day when I was in Vegas, I bought an off-white belt that I didn't even like, and I ended up selling it to my brother. I bought a YSL bag, and we'll get into what happened to all this stuff. I bought a YSL bag. I bought a Gucci bag. I had bizarre stuff, y'all, and I buy myself whatever I wanted. I would fly wherever I wanted. When I'm there, I'm spending how much ever money. So it don't matter if I'm using my regular money for my job, because I did always work. But mind you, in college, I was working part-time. I would only work full-time in the summer. And then is either I'm using my work money, I'm using the leftovers from my student loan, which eventually you gotta pay that back, and I'm using credit cards. And I'm just never saying no to myself. And I'm eating out practically every day, multiple times a day. So, and I got a car note. At this time, I don't have rent or nothing. I just have a car note and I have car insurance. That's probably about it. So, during this time, I'm just living my best life. My best life. And mind you, at this time, I probably had like damn near 10 credit cards. Dang near 10 credit cards. And I've got cars in my name and all types of stuff. At this point, my credit is not terrible, but it ain't great. At this point, I had a 6 something, maybe a 650 or something. But this was before the time where they put the credit score to 800. Like, this was when the credit score, a good credit score, was 700. So, during this time, because I was making all my payments on time, but it got to the point where it's like, before I was paying it off, and then I started just doing the minimum payments, and then it was kind of like a roller coaster, but at this point, it wasn't out of control. Like, I wasn't missing any payments, everything was good. So, boom. I end up, get out of college, I have a great job, I am still on campus, because I was in my master's program, and I'm still living the same life. Whatever I want, I get it. Whatever I want, I get it. I don't have really much bills. Everything, I'm still managing it. I move into my new apartment. I'm still managing my 10 credit cards, for real. So, everything's cool. To be honest, my spending habits at that time really didn't affect my life, because although I had a lot of debt, y'all, had 10 credit cards, I could pay them all. Like, I could pay them all because I didn't have rent. And then when I did have rent at my last place, I was living under my means. So, that place was cheaper for rent. So, I had enough money, y'all. Back then, when I first got out, like, once I moved into my own place, I was making like $60,000 a year. I was making about $62K a year, or $60,000. Probably 60 or 62, whatever. So this was back in maybe 2019, probably 2019. Probably 2020. First apartment, she had to call my job to make sure that I actually made the amount of money I made, which I found very weird. That whole apartment was weird, but like, I found it very weird because I gave her my actual offer letter. Like, she had my whole offer letter, and she called my job and just like, hey, does she work here? Does she make this amount of money? And I would never known until my boss was like, because they didn't say, oh, we got to call your job or nothing. But my boss at the time, which wasn't really my boss because I was going out of town. My job, when I had moved into my first apartment, I had just got my job. So I was going out of state to do training. Like, I was in Colorado for a month doing training. My job sent me there. So anyway, so boom. By the way, I was kind of in my 20s. Maybe I was 21, 22. So she probably was just like, this girl, ain't no way she's making this type of... No. I had to be 23 or 22. Something like that. Probably 20. Probably 22. So she probably like, she's 22. Ain't no way she's making $62,000 a year. So anyway, she literally called my job. And my job was like, yep. And he came back and told me like, oh, your apartment just called and they asked, do you work here? Do you make this money? And I said, yes. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, but it was odd because that was my training store and I didn't know they were going to call, and you know, it was weird. Anyway, so they called, I moved there, whatever. Everything's fine. Like I said, my rent is cheap there. I'm paying my car note. Everything's cool, kosher. I remember during that time I was going to get a Mercedes. This is what I mean. I love to live above my means. Like, my apartment was below my means, but all the credit cards I had, and the fact that I had so much access to so many credit cards and so much money at a young age, I was just like, if I want to go out of town, I'm going. If I'm going to Jamaica, I'm going. If I want to go to London, I'm going. Like, that was me. Like, swipe the credit card, put it on a credit card, period. And so, anyhow, during this time, everything's under control. I'm good. We're great. I only stayed at that apartment for about 3-4 months. Because y'all can go look at my story time about how my apartment was infested with mice. That was that apartment. So, I ended up finding my apartment here. I'm like, okay, this is a luxury place. Like, I don't think I can really afford it. But, like, let's just go look at it. I didn't know what the price was going to be. By the way, this was during the pandemic. So I end up coming here and I see the place and I'm like, okay, like, I like this place. Like, and they had a deal because it was the pandemic, in the middle of the pandemic, and it was the winter time I was moving out. So I said, okay, boom, I'm going to move here. It wasn't too much more than what I was paying. I think it was like $100 more a month or something like that. I'm like, okay, I can manage that. I feel like this is going to fall. I'm like, okay, I can manage that. As I live here longer, obviously the rent is going up every month. Every month it's going up by like $100. Not only is the rent going up $100, but I'm also, my garage fee goes up. So I have a heated garage because this is Minnesota. Who doesn't? That's what I mean. Like, girl, everything I want, I got. Because before my old place, I was just parking outside. Why can I not park outside? But here, the parking garage was $75. My old apartment, they didn't have heated parking. They only had garage ones that you pull up and down. Like, I was like, nah, I'm not paying for that. So when I got here, I'm like, I'm getting a heated garage. So not only my rent went up, but I also just got a heated garage. And then on top of that, now time's going past, they're going up on the rent, and now they're going up on my garage fee. So now it's not 75, now it's 100. So all these things, I'm getting new expenses, obviously. Everything's fine still, because at this point, I probably had gotten a raise at my job, and like I said before, I was living below my means, if you want to think like bill wise, outside of credit cards. What happened was, y'all, I took the biggest risk of my life. Why? I just feel like God called me to do it. Do I regret it? I don't regret it. Do I regret filing bankruptcy? I don't regret filing bankruptcy. I don't. I was in a time period where I was really sad, really regretful, more embarrassed. I don't think it was really like I was sad because I had to file for bankruptcy. I think I was more embarrassed that like I had let myself get to a certain point. That's more about it, what triggered me. So what happened was I was still working at this job that I'm making 60-something K from. And I think it was like 62K there or whatever. So I'm still working this job. Everything's cool. Everything's kosher. It's now the pandemic. During the whole pandemic, they paid us. We didn't have to work for a couple months, and I still got paid. The company was amazing when it came to like paying us, taking care of us during the pandemic. After we were able to return back to work, this is when the problems arise because we were really understaffed. Y'all, I used to be in store management, so retail management. I used to be an assistant store manager. So I would oversee 2 other like hourly managers that worked under me. So it was a lot of work, and I was in charge of merchandising. If you know anything about merchandising a big store, it's a lot of work, okay? And I had to do a grand opening for this store, everything. It is physically a lot of work, mentally a lot of work, and you work a lot of hours. So anyhow, during this time, now when it's time to return back, nobody want to return back to work because everybody is getting unemployment and they're paying more. Unemployment is paying more than you get paid at an hourly retail job. The hourly retail job, they only get paid maybe like $10 an hour, $12, $13 an hour. So we got people just not returning back to work. We got people that are scared not coming back. We have people that are on unemployment. They don't want to come back. They don't need to. So it's very hard for us to get staff. But during this time, my job is not trying to cut the hours. All the other retail places have cut their hours, have made adjustments because it is clearly just too hard to get people to come back to work. So it starts to get this job was already a toxic environment because of my boss. That'll be a whole nother story time. It was already a toxic environment because of him, and he was making my life a living hell. He, like, at this time, like, he talked to me because he felt like, oh, this store wasn't, like, up to par, and I need to get the store together, and I need to get my staff together. Like, he was literally verbally abusive to me at work, and he was always gaslighting me because he was racist. Let's be honest. So anyhow, he was making my life just terrible. Even before that, and I kept saying, like, he had threatened before that, like, to write me up. But he literally had no means to write me up. He was just like, oh, you're not doing a good enough job. But then he went to other stores and he saw that the other stores were a mess and our store was actually pretty good. He just wasn't used to being in a store that's like has an off-price model, like where it's like you have a bunch of random stuff. You gotta make it look good. Like he's used to a store where you get a bunch of the same units and your store looks a certain way. So he was uneducated. He didn't know how to run his store. He didn't even know how to run the computer system. But that's a whole nother story. It kind of go into the story, but so what ended up happening is I get to my wit's end. Everybody is at their wit's end. All of my team that all my hourly managers that work for me, they're like, we're exhausted. We're working all these hours. We don't have staff. Like, we're tired. I'm like, me too. So one of my at this time, I had one hourly merchandising manager that I didn't know what he was doing. And my boss said that we needed to promote him into the position under me. I told him, nope, it's a bad idea. I don't think he's ready for this. I think we should get somebody else. Oh, no, we should be able to train him. So he convinced me to have this bad merchandising manager. He didn't know how to merchandise to save his life. And so I had to keep doing his job. And then I had a good merchandising manager that I was training to even get better and to eventually be her own assistant store manager. And she told me, like, I'm actually going to get a new job. I have a new job. Mind you, during this time, I was already contemplating quitting this job because it was stressful. And I was just like, I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. So anyhow, my merchandising hourly manager that works for me, she quit. She puts her notice in. I'm like, okay, it's time for me now to put my notice in. Mind you, at this time, I don't have a job. I don't have any income outside of this job. But it's time for me to quit. At this point, I didn't really care about quitting. I used to be so fearful. Like when my boss was trying to write me up and stuff, it was kind of like I was kind of trying to stay there for some reason. And I was scared to lose my job. Like actually frightened. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like I need this money. I need whatever. I had a really scarcity mindset. So anyhow, but during this time, like, you know what? I can get a new job. Are you serious? Like I can get a new job. Like, it's a pandemic. Everyone's hiring. At this time, literally everybody was hiring. So, baby, if I wanted a job, I would probably get it in a couple days. So, at this time, it was when the job market was really open. Everybody needed to come back to work, and a lot of people were not returning. So, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice in tomorrow. So, I had already told my old assistant, or my old hourly manager that worked for me, like, hey, if you put your notice in, I will be putting my notice in very shortly right after. So, y'all, I go in, I put my notice in, don't have a job, don't have nothing. Then the other assistant manager puts her notice in. Then my store manager, once we gave him all of our notices, he put his notice in. Everybody quit. Every single manager quit. And the other one that wasn't good, he got demoted. The one that was under me, he got demoted. So at the time, my general manager thinks I want to be a store manager because that's what I was thinking. I was going to take a store manager position in Fargo because they were going to give me money and all that, whatever. And I knew a lot of people wouldn't want to take the store in Fargo, so I said, I'm going to go because I'm going to probably make 6 figures, whatever. Anyways, I changed my mind. All that goes out the window. I just want to leave the job. So when I leave the job, before I leave, she's like, oh, can we give you a raise? Can we give you more money? Like, what can we do? Like, we want you to stay. Like, you wanted to be promoted and we want you to stay. Like, because we had got a new general manager. After my old manager was doing all that weird stuff, it was a different manager that he was doing that weird stuff with. Now I had a new general manager and she really liked me. But I was like, nope, gotta go. She's like, can I move you to a different store? Nope, gotta go. So I felt like spiritually I had to go. So I put my notice in. During this time, y'all, I decide, and I think it's because I was talking to my friend and stuff, and she was like, because I was like, I don't know, I might want to start a business, I might want to do whatever, da-da-da. And she had like told me like, maybe you can get a loan or something. This is where my life fell apart. So I get a personal loan. I get approved for this loan in 1 hour. I go on there, apply for the loan. The loan is $20,000. $20,000 on a personal loan that has high interest. Very, very high interest. The payment for the loan is $700 a month. For I don't know how many years. $700 a month. The loan is $20,000. The $20,000 hit my account the next day. This is how personal loans work. I'm like, okay, cool. Fuck this job. I was gone anyway, but now I'm not even wanting to look for another job. Now I'm comfortable. I got money and I ain't got no job. So it's lit time for me. So y'all, this is when I made a lot of bad decisions. At this point, I'm not working, even though I had already signed up to do Lyft, because I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to have my job. I can just do Lyft or whatever and collect unemployment for a little bit, because technically my job, I had looked up, like, if your job changes or they're like, there's something wrong with your job and that's why you quit, you could get unemployment. So during this time, y'all, I'm getting a little unemployment for a few months, and then I'm also supposed to do Lyft, but I'm just never doing Lyft. I'm like, I don't feel like it. I got money. So at this time, I said, you know what? I'm going to start a business. I don't know. It came out of the blue, y'all. It was never like I ever really wanted to be an entrepreneur. So this is crazy. I go to LA. I buy a bunch of products to start a business, not knowing how to buy, even though I went to school for fashion. I don't know to be buying, not to buy too much quantity, what to buy, what not to buy. So at this point, I just buy a bunch of stuff. I probably spent about $3,000, maybe $4,000, maybe $3,000 on products. And then I'm also spent money to fly to LA, fly back, pay for hotel, pay for rental car. Right now, LA probably cost me right about 5 bands out of 20,000. Mind you, I'm also using this 20,000 to pay my $700 loan. So it's get to a point where I'm rocking and rolling for a little while. I'm going to Jamaica, spending $1,000 to go to Jamaica here. I went to Jamaica twice in that year. London was after I started working again. So anyway, so boom. Now I'm getting low on money though. So now I have to start doing Lyft. And I'm not gonna lie, Lyft, you can make a decent amount of money on doing Lyft, especially at that time. So I'm making money. I'm able to like pay my car note. I'm able to pay my loan. I'm able to pay my rent. Everything is cool, but I am stressed because I am broke. I can pay everything, but I don't have $1 to my name now. Like, I'll pay everything, but I can't go out with my friends. So it's like a whole year of isolation. Like, I couldn't be with friends like that because they would want to go out and do stuff. I was depressed. I was sad. So it was like, I didn't really want to be out or nothing like that because I need to figure out how to pay these bills. So I started getting out of control to the point like, okay, now I ran out of $20,000. Now I'm trying to hustle, bustle, try to do Lyft, but I'm also not, I don't keep myself accountable. I don't know how to show up for myself. So it got to a point where it's like, I'm not doing Lyft as much as I should be doing it. So, y'all, this is when my life started falling apart. And I'm running out of money. So I start Googling, what should I do? Because, baby, I got too many credit cards. I got student loans. And at this time, the student loans was deferred because of the pandemic. But they were about to come back. So I'm like, I cannot. This $700 payment is what's taking me out at this point. Like, I can't keep up with this forever. So I ended up Googling it, and I found out about bankruptcy. I never heard about bankruptcy in my life, besides the fact that people like joke on bankruptcy, like, oh, they had to file bankrupt, or the business had to go bankrupt. But what I did learn is the low knowledge on bankruptcy. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's a lot of things that go into bankruptcy. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, oh, I'm going to file bankruptcy. And they were very open about it. And I think that's why I've been able to tell my story more now, because I was hiding it the whole time. Only people in my family knew that I was filing bankruptcy, but nobody else like knew. And only one of my friends knew. My other best friend didn't even know. Still didn't know to this day, unless she's watching this video. So anyhow, I was Googling everything. I found one bankruptcy company, but I didn't know their reviews weren't that good. So I said, okay, no, I'd rather work with a private lawyer. He's a little bit more spendy, but he seems like he might be able to get my payments down, because y'all, I didn't file a chapter 7. Most people do file a chapter 7, which I kind of go back and forth with, should I have filed a chapter 7 or not. But chapter 7 it gets rid of all your debts besides your student loans, and you just get a fresh start. But that one stays on your record for 10 years, but you don't have to make any monthly payments towards it. And then everything's gone. And then there's chapter 13, which is what I did. Chapter 13 is actually when you pay some of your debts back. So like you pay a monthly amount to your creditors or whatever, the people that you owe. And when you're doing this process, it's a little bit, I think it's 7 years instead of 10 years on your record. So 7 years on your record instead, and the payments are 3 to 5 years. But usually, if it's your first offense or whatever, bankruptcy, it's 3 years. So the only reason I did that is because during that time period, your loans get deferred. So my student loans are deferred for 3 years. Y'all, I'm almost at 3 years, y'all. I'm at 2 years now. So I got 1 more year left, and then my bankruptcy is gonna be, what is that called? I forgot the word, y'all. I'm not like a professional at this, but when it then goes off of your, I gotta Google it. I have to Google it. But anyways, that is the time period where it's like, okay, now you can start getting more stuff and stuff like that, but it's still on your credit. You know what I mean? Versus chapter 7, it actually, you can start getting stuff actually kind of right away. Even though it's going to be hard. Y'all, either way, when you have bankruptcy, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to get credit cards that have annual fees on it. You're going to have to get like kind of the bad credit stuff. Let's be honest. Until you get closer to 3 to 5 years or whatever. I say give yourself 5 years. And they do say you can get a home in 2 years and stuff. You can repair your credit and you can have a 700 credit score. That's a whole lot of stuff. I'm not here to teach y'all because I know stuff, but I'm not like professional. So boom, I decided to do chapter 13 because I want my student loans to be deferred. If my student loans are not being deferred, that means I'm probably going to have to spend about $400 in student loans. So might as well take the payment that they're going to give me than pay $400 for student loans. So the payment they gave me was $150. That's very low. So I said, okay, boom, I can do that. By the time I do this, file for bankruptcy and stuff, I'm about to start a new job. How I even get this new job is I get recruited for this new job as an assistant manager. I don't look for it. They find me through LinkedIn. During this time, I was going to London to go visit my ex. I went to London. I was doing Lyft, and I already knew that I was filing bankruptcy, so I didn't have to pay any of my credit cards anymore. I didn't have to pay that personal loan anymore. I was told to not pay any of it. Okay? They only just pay your car note if you want to keep your car, and obviously where you live. So anyways, so at this time, I know I don't have to pay any of that. I'm doing Lyft, so I had money. And I also was doing pop-up shops. So when I had my lingerie, which I still do, I was doing pop-up shops. And I remember that month I was going to London, I had made the most money out of all the months I had ever did a pop-up shop. I think I made $550 in 4 hours. So do I regret putting money in the business? Not necessarily. I regret how I went about it, but it was giving me money like during the process. But I wasn't doing enough pop-up shops. I was doing one a month. I live in Minnesota. So it would be different if I live in a booming city where there's always markets and always like people that spend money. But this is Minnesota. This is not New York. This is not Houston. This is not Atlanta. So anyways, boom. Now I'm going through this process. I tell my friend. One of my friends is the only friend that knows about my bankruptcy. Besides now a few of my friends know. But one of my friends, she was telling me, no, don't do it, Joanna. Like, don't do it, don't da. And I was like, I'm still going to do it. I'm glad I did. Because people tell you don't do stuff because they are ignorant on it or they're uneducated on it. Is it the best thing? No. Are you going to have messed up credit? Yes. Is it going to be hard for you to get stuff? Yes. So, if you're going through this process, you want to make sure you probably already have a car already. Or you have a home already. Or you got some time. So, for me personally, I'm glad I did it young. Because I knew then by 31, 32, I'm good. Like, then I can get a home. I can get a car. Like, it falls off. So, I knew that I did it at the right time. If you're a little bit older, that's okay too. But make sure that you already got all the stuff that you want and then do it. Like, if you already got your home, you already got your car, boom, do it. But for me, I'm lucky. I'm not going to lie. I'm lucky enough to have a mom. Now, my mom has great credit. So, if I want something, my mom will help me get it, to be honest. So, I'm blessed in that, and I'm very grateful for my mom. That's how I got my nice car, because my mom has great credit. So yeah. Anyhow, so now I don't regret it. It is a process. Like I said, it's hard to get things. I got approved for apartment. Apartment is something that's not hard to get approved for during this process, because apartments take people with bad credit all the time. You just gotta have double deposit or more deposit. And you just gotta have a good salary. So mind y'all, by the time I'm going through this case or whatever with chapter 13, I don't have a real job. So when I did it was really perfect timing because my payment became very low because of my income was low. But now, y'all, I was just starting at my new job that I just got. So it was perfect timing. So then I started working my new job and everything. They paid me more money at my new job. So I was able to get all my life under control. Like, things were getting better, way better. And then now I got my corporate job and I'm getting more money. But what I will say is, I still, during this process, I learned a lot, which helped me. It really helped me to be less materialistic. I had to sell all my designer stuff. I had to pay rent. I had to pay for stuff. Like, during that process, I actually was never behind on rent. I feel like in this economy is when I started paying stuff late, like rent. But back then, even when I ain't had no job, I was still paying on time, y'all, because I was selling my YSL bags. I've been selling my Gucci bag before this situation happened because I didn't want it no more. But so my YSL bag, y'all know I paid $2,000+ for that and sold it for $1,000. That's what I will say I'm happy about. During that time, I was materialistic because I had so much stuff I could sell and make so much money off of it. Like it worked out, baby. I was able to get some things moving and shaking. But now what I've learned is, yes, I became less materialistic because it was like I couldn't shop. I couldn't get my nails done. I could get my hair done. That was the first time in my life that I couldn't do those things. So it helped me center and sit with myself. Like, what do I care about? What is important in life? Like, the materialist is not important. Happiness is important. And when I'm happy, it's when I have time to myself, when I'm not stressed, when I can go on vacation, when I can have experiences with my friends and family. Not when I have a bag and some shoes and some makeup and some red bottoms. Like, no. It's when I can have the time. And the happiness. Happiness is within you. Not on you. It's within you. So I had to go through that because I started doing a lot of inner work. I started going to therapy. I started reading health books. That also started happening around the time I was having weight loss surgery. Everything aligned perfectly because during this time I didn't have a job when I started my weight loss surgery process. So I was getting free government insurance for health insurance. So my entire surgery was free. Everything, God aligned everything perfectly. I know exactly why everything happened to me. But in the midst, I'm like, my life is falling apart. Why did this happen? So during this time, y'all, I literally get government assistance, like healthcare. And I then get a job. And the healthcare was automatically renewing because of COVID. So by the time I got the job, it already auto-renewed. So my whole surgery was free. I had a job now, so I could take the leave of absence and still get paid. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed. I'm still in the same apartment. I've been living in for 4 years. I was able to keep my apartment. Never faced eviction. Never had an eviction notice. Never in my life. Thank the Lord. Hopefully never experienced that. Still have my car. The whole process. So I'm very blessed. But now I'm learning how to be more financially responsible, because just because you get more money doesn't mean you spend more money. And that's one of my problems. Now I don't overconsume as much. But let's say I get $1,000 randomly, because I get money randomly from other places outside of work, like a business stuff or whatever. So I get $1,000 here, or sponsorship or something. I get some money here. I just blow money. Like, I just be like, where did the money go? And so that's why this year I really want to be more intentional about being more financially responsible, like saving, making sure that I understand what I'm spending my money on, really thoroughly budgeting. That is really my goal this year, because I do want to stop overly consuming. Like, even my car is a brand new car. I didn't need to get this type of expensive car, but I did. My new place is about the same amount I pay here, a little bit less actually. But I don't always have to have something nicer, something nicer, something nicer. So I am trying to find the balance. And so this is my last year of being financially irresponsible. Sorry, y'all. This is crazy. Anyway, y'all, this is my last year being financially irresponsible. It's time to tell myself no. It's time to plan things. It's time to plan vacations, because when I want to get up and go, I just be going. And y'all, Afterpay, you can go on vacation anytime, and then you gotta pay it every 2 weeks. It's crazy. So, and in this economy, I'm sorry, y'all. In this economy, it's so expensive right now. So expensive. even the way I eat is expensive because I eat very healthy now. So yeah, y'all. So this year is my last year of being financially irresponsible. Next year is a year of abundance. I know I will be making more money next year. I'll get a raise at my job, obviously. I'm also now making money off YouTube. So I have to know, just because I'm making more money, now I need to know how to manage that more money to also increase my financial literacy. So I am reading a book by Rich Dad, in the Rich Dad series or whatever. So I'm learning a little bit more, and I do want to learn about investments. But the first thing I want to focus on is saving and tackling all debt. Like literally, that's all I want to do, is focus on tackling debt, saving, so that when I am fully, this is all done in this next year, I'm ready. Like my credit is amazing. I'm ready. I'm having smarter decisions, because I think it's a whole mental thing, because you have to repair your behaviors with why you're using credit cards, and why you're spending money that you don't have, and why are you over consuming, and why you're being materialistic, and why are you making so much money but still struggling. Yeah, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments. Put them in the comment. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.